Back to you.
All right, thanks to Kelly Craft for that early update. Now I have two great attorney guests standing by to dig in on this case. I want to welcome them in now. South Carolina State Representative and former prosecutor Tommy Pope and criminal defense and civil attorney John Phillips. Welcome to you both. Good morning.
Morning.
Oh my, there's a lot to this case, and whew, has it gone fast. So now here we are. You know, we're on the day of closing arguments. Has the state met its burden of proof? Let's start there. Tommy Pope, you were once serving as a solicitor there in South Carolina. What do you think? Have they proven this one?
I believe they have. There was not as much forensics as I had anticipated. I think it lies on the daughter, and we were discussing yesterday. I always hate that we can't see the jurors' faces because, while we may think the daughter's credible, maybe the jury does, maybe they don't. That's been a difficulty in kind of ascertaining. But I thought she held up well. I thought Margie's cross was a little harsh, and that may just be Margie Bright Matthews' style, but, sometimes with a victim's family, you have to be a little more delicate. But I thought the daughter held up well. The best angle I thought Margie had was that, somehow if this guy's out of the way, that the daughter gets the money. She, made some points about a GoFundMe and things of that nature, but I think they'll carry the day.
Right. And thank you for bringing that up, Tommy, because I was thinking the same thing as I was watching. I know many of our Court TV viewers thought the same thing because we know Leanne Kroenke is a victim. Yes, she's a witness, but ooh, that cross, I thought it was very harsh. John Phillips, I saw you nodding your head as Tommy was talking there in the monitor. Any thoughts on that? Would you like to elaborate? Did you find it a bit tough on her?
It was a bit tough, but, I was kind of laughing at his point. Leave it to a trial lawyer to want to see the jury, even on court TV, right? But it's, this case is missing that video of him with the match. Like, you think about the case where the child is running on the treadmill and you had, a lot of evidence leading up showing the abuse, and we don't quite have that. But clearly we're in a spousal abuse divorce scenario, and my office was in court on one of these last week where, it's unfortunate and we have to stop it, hopefully before it leads to this. And your opening statement was phenomenal to that effect. But I think the state has enough to prove its burden.
John, thank you kindly for that. I want to play that clip, because that was just what jumped out to me the most yesterday when Leanne said, somebody's going to get hurt, is what I told my mom. It gave me chills. Let's look back.
Towards the end of 2019, what advice did you give to your mom?
Towards the end of 2018?
Or 2018, yes, I'm sorry. And this is just what you are telling your mother, not what she's telling you.
My words to her were always, you have to figure something out. Somebody's going to get hurt.
Tommy Pope, how do you think prosecutors can use those words of warning today in their close?
I think, we've talked about this so many times, domestic violence, and why doesn't the wife just leave or the spouse just leave? And it's so much more complicated than we think it is, and the average citizen may think it is. If he treated me like that, I would just go. I think this has got all the classic elements, even up through the not reporting to the doctor, of abuse. Sometimes the spouse really wants to escape, but as you led in today, they need help when they do. So I think it will be effective if, again, I'm laughing. I always want to see the jury. If I could see the jury's faces, I could tell you, that would resonate with them.
You could read the room. No, I know you could. I know. And I know John knows what you mean here. And John, I wanted to ask you, I'm glad Tommy brought this up, how the defense made a big deal about the lack of reporting, right? And I know that, you both certainly are so seasoned as trial attorneys. You understand domestic violence and the dynamic, but getting the jury to understand that, John, what does the state need to do to take those facts of the non-reporting and make them understand that it is indicative of someone who's being controlled?
Everybody, including Court TV viewers, understand that the state can't use the golden rule. They can't put the jury directly in the shoes of the victim, the decedent, But you go closer to that line, right? It's kind of common sense, and a lot of jurors have been through it, where you are in an abusive relationship, and even in some other murder cultures, snitching is the last thing you need to do, because it leads to death. It leads to worse consequences. But my partner and I do a lot of wrongful death and criminal defense. My partner does the family law, and neither one of us quite understand how the other one does what he does, because the family law, aspect of when people are fighting for their lives, their money, their children, it gets so personal.
Right. Oh, you're right, John. I know we say it all the time. Tommy, I'm sure you've heard this. We think criminal court is dangerous. Go over to family court. And oftentimes we see the crossing of the cases in both places. Tommy, what do you think about at the hospital when we know Craig is the one, he's calling for help, he's calling Leanne, he takes her to the hospital for treatment, and we know that Terry is saying to the medical staff that this happened by accident. Do you think the state can overcome that?
Well, it's interesting. Two things. One, I think that taking her to the hospital is kind of classic domestic violence. I'll beat you up and then I'll give you flowers kind of thing. But number two, taking her to the hospital keeps him in closer proximity to kind of be a visual threat and to monitor what she's saying, what she's telling, in case he needs to fabricate a story or change anything. And so I think the prosecution can weave that in there. But of course he was there. He was there to protect his own interests, not to protect her. And I think they can weave that in.
Right, Tommy. Exactly. Like you said, and making the jury understand this is classic power and control, domestic violence dynamics. And then how about what he's saying? This really gets me. He's saying to the medical staff and to Leanne, he makes a point to say to both of them, I didn't do this to her. I didn't do this to Terry. John Phillips, how do you use the defendant's words if you are the state of South Carolina?
Look, you can't bring up that he took the Fifth Amendment, right? But you can bring in a lot of these collateral statements, and the fact that he is couched. What is he going to do? Admit it, right? So the fact that he's couched all these threats, the threat of leaving, and prior incidents of more circumstantial of violence, and like Mr. Pope was saying, related to attending all of her visits and kind of being her armed security, under duress. I think you have enough there to show that he doesn't have to come up and admit. And of course, he wouldn't ever admit this, because it's going to lead to, substantial time in prison.
Right, exactly, John. John Phillips, thank you much. You're going to stay with us. Tommy Pope, I know we need to let you go and get off to court in South Carolina, where we're going to be heading with our cameras in about an hour. Thank you for making time for this segment for us. We'll see you soon, Tommy.